Hey friends, happy Monday and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. I hope you all have had a great weekend. I've got some new meals in this What's for Dinner to share with you that were really good. Again, not using the oven this week. I used the Cuisinart griddler, which is like a George Foreman type thing, quite a bit, and the air fryer. And everything we had this week was easy and delicious. So let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. I literally just said we didn't use the oven this week, but I forgot we had this as a bubble up pizza bake. So I started off by browning up some sausage. You could use ground beef, ground turkey, whatever you want to use, but I am using some ground sausage, and then I'm seasoning it up with some Italian seasoning, some garlic powder, onion, salt, and a little bit of red pepper flakes. And I'm just gonna cook that up until it's nice and browned. And then I'm gonna add in about a whole jar of marinara sauce. You could use a whole jar, but I had this one that I had opened, I think used for some sort of pizza lunch thing that we had. So it was like 3/4 of the way full, and I used some water to make sure I got all of the sauce out of there. So I added that in, and then I am taking a can of jumbo buttermilk biscuits, and I am cutting each biscuit into 8 little pieces and adding those to the sauce. And I'm gonna kind of stir it as I add them so they don't stick together in one big clump, and they can all get coated really well with the marinara sauce. So I just continue to do that until I've used all the biscuits in the can, and then I'm going to spread it out in a nice even layer in my skillet. This skillet is oven safe. If you're not using an oven safe skillet, you would want to transfer this to a casserole dish. And then I'm just topping it with some mozzarella cheese and some pepperoni. And this went in the oven on 375 for about 25 minutes. And when it came out, it was nice and golden. The biscuits were all done, and it was crispy pepperonis on top. And we just had this with some salad for those of us that like salad. This is something that I've made quite a few times, and you can vary it with like different toppings if you like, but I usually just keep it simple with some sausage or ground beef and pepperoni. Saturday night we had some pork sandwiches. So I had these pork schnitzel in the freezer, and usually when I make them in the air fryer, and then I'll make like mashed potatoes and gravy on the stove and we'll eat it with that. But this time I felt like it would be really good as a sandwich. So I took the pork schnitzel pieces and put them on the air fryer basket. I always spritz them with a little bit of olive oil cooking spray, and then they go in the air fryer on 375 about 10 minutes per side till they get nice and golden. And then all I did was stick them on some buns with a little bit of mayonnaise and cheddar cheese. I think Andy did ketchup on his, and then we had some chips on the side. This is just a super simple dinner, and we like these pork schnitzels. They're a little bit salty, but they're crispy and just nice on a sandwich, as well as like with potatoes and gravy. So definitely something that I pick up from Aldi when I find them on clearance. Sunday night we had Meatball Subs. I feel like it's been forever since we had them, since I stopped buying the meatballs at Sam's Club, because I stopped shopping at Sam's Club, and those are our favorite frozen meatballs. But I decided to try these original meatballs from Aldi, and they turned out pretty good. I just dumped out the whole bag on my air fryer basket and stuck them in the air fryer on 375 for about 15 minutes. And I will say that they did have a lot of grease that kind of dripped down to the bottom pan. I had to be careful not to spill it when I pulled it out of the air fryer. So just a heads up, if you do buy these and make them, they are pretty greasy, but because of the way the air fryer is designed, all that grease just drips to the bottom. So the meatballs didn't end up being greasy themselves, just a lot of grease to dispose of later. And of course, if you fried them in a pan or something, you would probably want to drain that grease off. But once they were all cooked up in the air fryer, then I added them to a pot on the stove with some marinara sauce and let the marinara sauce heat up. And then I have some sandwich buns here that I put on the air fryer basket, and I'm topping each one with a little bit of meatballs and marinara and then some mozzarella cheese. and sticking them back in the air fryer for about 5 minutes so the cheese can get nice and golden and melty. And then we just serve this with a salad on the side, of course. And as I said, the meatballs were pretty good. Again, not my favorite, but not bad and would definitely repurchase. Monday, we just had tacos, some ground beef tacos, white people taco night, hard shells, cheese, salsa, lettuce, tomato for those that like it, and then some Spanish rice and refried beans. If you saw the vlog on Friday, you know on Tuesday we had barbecue pulled pork baked potatoes. I cooked the potatoes in the air fryer on like 375 for about 20 minutes, flipped them over another like 20 to 25 minutes on the other side until they were fork tender. I like to coat them with olive oil and a little bit of salt and poke them with holes. And then when they were done, I opened them up and mashed them a little bit with some butter and salt and pepper. And then I topped them with some barbecue pulled pork that I had from the freezer and just heated up on the stove with a little bit of extra barbecue sauce. And then topped it with some cheddar cheese, and that is it. Super simple, filling, and delicious dinner. Wednesday, we tried a Greek chicken and couscous salad recipe that I found on the Lemon8 app. So in the morning, I took some thinly sliced chicken breast and I started marinating it with a little bit of olive oil, the juice from one whole lemon, some salt, lemon pepper, about 2 tablespoons of honey, and then I didn't have fresh basil, so I used some of this basil paste stuff that I found at Aldi, and I just got that all mixed together, made sure the chicken was coated with it, and I stuck this in the fridge all day. You can do as little as like 30 minutes before you want to cook it, but I had time in the morning and my meat was thawed out, so I went ahead and did that and stuck it in the fridge. Now for the couscous salad, I have already cooked up 1 cup of pearled couscous. So once that was done, I drained it, rinsed it with some cold water so it wouldn't be hot. And I'm adding that to a large bowl with some halved grape tomatoes, a mini cucumber that I cut up, about 1/4 of a red onion that I diced up finely, and then a little bit more of that basil paste in here, the juice of 1 lemon, and a little bit of salt and pepper, and then some feta, a whole container. I think it's a 10-ounce container, maybe it's an 8-ounce container of feta, and mix that up really well. I almost forgot a drizzle of olive oil in there as well. The full recipe will be linked down below if you are interested in going and checking that out. And then I just put this couscous salad in the fridge while I worked on cooking my chicken. I am using my Cuisinart griddler, similar to a George Foreman. This can open up and lay flat if I want it to, but I like to use it as like a George Foreman style thing for grilling chicken. So once I had it hot, I just added my chicken on there and let it cook for 6 minutes, and then I checked the internal temperature and it was done. So I removed it, let it cool for a few minutes, and then sliced it up and served it with that couscous salad on the side. I drizzled mine with balsamic vinegar glaze because I like that and the recipe recommended it. The rest of my family doesn't like it, so they didn't get it. And everybody really liked this. The chicken was delicious. The couscous salad was delicious. I will say I think I added a little bit too much of lemon juice to it. It did call for a whole lemon, but I think either I needed to have more couscous or my lemon was maybe too big and I didn't need the full lemon juice. So I would recommend adding a little bit at a time and tasting it to see if it's too lemony for you, but everybody ate it. We all know Elijah doesn't like tomatoes, so I gave his tomatoes like to the rest of us. And then Andy doesn't like cucumbers, so his cucumbers went to everybody else. It was really easy just to like kind of pick it out and make everybody's plates according to what they liked. And this was really good, and I will definitely make it again. Thursday night, I made another chicken, like grilled on the George Foreman thing, and I didn't marinate this as early in the day. I think I did this about an hour before I cooked dinner. So in my bowl, I'm mixing together my marinade. I'm doing 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then the recipe called for Dijon mustard, but I was out, so I used a stone ground mustard, 1 tablespoon of that. half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and some salt. And then I whisk that together really well. And then I'm adding my chicken in there and stirring that around, making sure all of my chicken gets coated really well. And I'm just going to let that marinate for a little bit in the fridge while I prep the other things for dinner. In a large bowl, I have some diced up russet potatoes, and I am seasoning those all over with some olive oil, garlic powder, salt, pepper, onion salt, and paprika. And I'm going to toss those in the oil and the seasonings really well till everything is coated. Then I am transferring these potatoes to my air fryer basket, and I'm going to cook these probably about 35 to 40 minutes until they get nice and crispy on like 375 in the air fryer. Then I had 2 more of these yellow squash from Lady at Andy's work, and I wanted to try a different way to make them. Last time I made them in the air fryer. This time I am going to grill them on my Cuisinart griddler. And so I'm slicing them up. I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it. I've never done this. I didn't look it up or anything. I just sliced them up. Am I supposed to remove the seeds? I don't know. Should I have removed more of the skin? I think so, because it was a little crunchy. And you'll see, like here, I sliced it up and left some of that outer skin on. And then I'm seasoning it with salt and pepper and olive oil cooking spray, and garlic powder. And then when I flipped them over, I decided to cut off some of that skin, and I'm glad that I did that. I wish I would have taken off more. Let me know. Are you supposed to like peel these with a vegetable peeler if you're making them this way? Because that skin was a little bit tough cooking them in this way. I didn't peel them when I made them in the air fryer, and the skin wasn't tough at all. Maybe it's because it cooked a little bit longer, and on the grill it cooks pretty fast. I don't know. You guys have to let me know, because I've literally never done this before. And then I am moving on to cooking my chicken first. Just going to put it on the griddler and close this up. When I cook my chicken on here, I'm cooking it on the high setting, on the grill setting. So when it says like, I think like grill / panini, that's for when you're closing it. And I cook it on high, and the chicken does not take very long at all. I think this was 6 minutes with it closed. Checked the temperature. It was done, removed it, and set it aside on a cutting board to rest. And then there was a lot of liquid on here, so I ended up wiping most of that off and then cooking up my yellow squash. Just put it on there, closed it up, let it cook, I think for like 4 minutes until it started to get softened and have grill marks on it. And I had to do this in batches because I had quite a bit of squash. And then here is the whole setup of everything we had for dinner. We've got our nice crispy roasted potatoes in the air fryer, our chicken, and I sliced that up for everybody. And then we've got our squash, and everything turned out really good. The only, like, I would say kind of bad thing was that outer skin on the squash. But other than that, the rest of the squash was like delicious cooked this way. So I might have to buy myself some squash and not just get free squash, because I think maybe Elijah complained. I don't think Elijah likes the squash. He doesn't like zucchini either. He liked it for a while and then decided he didn't like it anymore. But that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Don't forget, any recipes that I mentioned will be linked in the description box down below. Let me know in the comments if you plan on trying any of these recipes, and leave me a smiley face emoji in the comments as well. I hope y'all have a great week, and I will see y'all on Wednesday for the grocery haul. Bye!